Good morning, Mike. Hey, bud.
Nicholas, it's great to see you. It's great
It
to
is
be
good
here
to
with
see
you.
you. I've been told that I call people bud too much and that people don't like being called bud.
I want to be as clear as I possibly can be. I do not like being called bud or pal.
Is it condescending?
Yes, it's extremely condescending.
What if I hit you with a bub?
I'm okay with bub. Bub is love
But what
to
about
me.
bubby? What if I said, "Hey, what's up, bubby? Hey, bubby."
I'll take bubby too, actually. That feels,
Wow. So you are okay with bub and even bubby, but if I called you bud or buddy, that is condescending.
yes, absolutely.
I don't
Because
follow your line of thinking.
well, I've heard that many times in my life. One comes from a position of power looking down on the other. Hey, bud. I get to call you bud. Don't like it. Hey, pal. The other comes from a place of love. Bub. Cuz that's not standard. Bub to me is like I'm showing my love. I'm rubbing my face against your face.
Oh, that's not the vibe I was going for. But I like calling people. I like switching it up. That's why I like
Yes.
saying bub. I like saying bud, and it's never condescending from me. It's always the tone that can connotate
No.
condescension.
No, bud is entirely condescending. I do not like it. I do not like being called pal. Pal more than bud clearly. I keep
Pal,
bringing up pal.
pal is bad.
I keep, yeah. Hey, pal. So, you're calling me pal?
What about
No.
Bucko? What if I said, "What? Hey, Bucko."
Nope. Out. Out on Bucko. That's like father talking to son or like some kind of older person talking to younger person. It's like giving someone a pat on the back when really you're trying to say, I'm dominant. I'm dominant on you. I'm the alpha in the room. That's what
Who's
it
the
is.
alpha of the? Who do you think's the alpha of this show?
We trade. We trade. I think it's probably you, but we trade.
Should we just make this a never-ending competition to see who can be the most alpha
Alpha
of
of
the
the
could be
episode.
wrong?
Alpha of the episode. Yeah, I'd like
Oh,
that.
that's good. That's good. We'll get to the end of each episode and we'll vote. We'll vote on who.
Secret ballot.
We'll do a
It's like
secret ballot, and then if there's a tie, then we'll leave it open to the show at all gang. I think that's a perfect way to do it.
yes, but first we vote. And so far I am the alpha, by the way, because I've been very clear and strong while you've been asking questions. That's the
I think
alpha.
I've called you Bub, Bud, and Bucko, which makes me the alpha of this show. But you know what? We got a lot of time left. There's a lot of time left in this episode for each of us to establish our dominance over the other.
You called me Bucko? I mean, you just asked about Bucko. But if you call me Bucko, I am steaming. I'm up to
Okay.
here, and if you're listening, my hand is raised. I'm up to here. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need to do something. Actually, I need to do something while we start this episode. I need to get the glasses ready because I feel like this could be a glasses
Yeah.
on heavy episode. We're at the end of the season. We got Maui Invitational in the books. So you've got the glasses in hand. I don't. Why don't you do the honor? This would be a major alpha move, by the way. Actually, it's an alpha move by me to offer you the opportunity to do the show rundown. So this is an alpha point for me. Why don't you give the show rundown? I am now giving you tasks to do. That's another major alpha move while I go get my glasses.
Not having your glasses is not alpha, but that's
Is that
fine and I
beta?
accept. Yeah, of course. What do you mean?
Okay.
We're doing the show. The one thing I do is get my glasses.
Okay, you go.
Okay, all right, all right. Today, we are going to talk about KU football's absolute wrecking of Cincinnati. Skyline Chili, where you at? Announcers, you're still on the toilet. Jason Bean was incredible. He gave us one great ride. We're going to give him some love. We have to give him some love. I assume we're going to show it all at some point. There will be some showing. And then we're going to recap the regular season. I mean, the Jayhawks had a good year. The dream season was on the table. There are a lot of regrets. We're going to do some regular season awards here. Really two awards. The Sick Rich Hot Badass Mofo of the Year and the Suckbag Loser of the Year. We're going to talk about bowl games for KU football. Then we're going to recap the Maui Invitational for KU basketball. Shaka Smart, we are watching you. We are watching you very closely. You might get some run in the awards, but the bounce back win over Tennessee was there, and the Jayhawks have some fun games coming up. All that, Nick, and much, much more.
And I could be wrong. You guys could look at this. And I could be wrong on this. I could be wrong. And I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I could be wrong on that. You'd have to ask him. But
that was a good intro. That was a really good intro, man.
Don't grade me.
I just want to give you props.
Don't grade me. Don't give me props.
Because I'm the grader.
Nope.
You are the gradee,
Okay.
which makes me above you. Some would call that being your alpha.
Nope. I shut it down. That's an alpha move. Point for me. 3-0 me. All right, Nick. Are you enraged about Skyline Chili? Nope, cutting you off. We're going to the show.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Wow.
4-0.
Am I enraged about chili? No, I'm not. I know a couple people from Cincinnati, and I've in recent weeks been talking about Skyline Chili, and they don't mess around with it, man. Like if you start bad mouthing it, it's like going to Kansas City and saying the barbecue's not that great because it's so messy. Like they don't mess around with their chili.
Did you see what it looked like?
I've seen what it looks like. It's not appetizing. It's not appealing to me. It's not appealing to most people, I would argue. But it is it's a sacred meal in Cincinnati. And it was pretty disgusting when they started eating it on the broadcast. Did you see the face of the sideline reporter when she took a bite of it?
It was great. Yeah. There's no way that they weren't all pooping their pants, having diarrhea through the night.
Immature and disgusting.
That's a point for me.
No, that's actually not a point for you. KU beats Cincinnati 49-16. That's an alpha score. I'll tell you what, 49
that was good.
to 16, an absolute beatdown. And the blowout all manifested in the fourth quarter. It was a relatively close game up until that point. And then Jason Bean alphaed the Bearcats with in a 2-minute span. He rips off a 46-yard touchdown run, a 50-yard touchdown run. This was the full Jason Bean experience in this game. And I think we have to start there. What a way for him to end his regular season collegiate career. That was, I don't know, the 5-touchdown game versus Oklahoma State. It was in a losing effort, so it's kind of tough. And he sort of dribbled down his leg there the last, 10 minutes of that game. What he did against Cincinnati, albeit it was Cincinnati, but you completed the assignment. You're supposed to blow that team out. That's what you did, and he had a major hand in that. 250 yards, 2 touchdowns through the air. And then 4 carries, 90 yards, and 2 tugs, man. What a game for Jason Bean. A little 4-beaner on the way out for the Hawks. What's the glasses on for?
Stats. You just cited stats.
Well,
I don't think that's 5 touchdowns.
I just gave
2 touchdowns.
So now I can't even reference what a player did in a game.
You can. Here's how I reference it. Jason Bean showed it all. We finally got the Jason Bean game where he took off, made electric plays with his feet. He was steady with his arm. He didn't miss any easy throws. This was the Bean that was promised. And it tasted so good. And that is how you talk about Jason Bean without naming stats. Point for me. But he really was
flicking it.
Awesome.
He was flicking it.
Yes, point for you. Now, I think he's had such a tough or up and down go at KU. I just want to take a minute to be like, man, I'm proud of that dude, and I'm really happy to have him on this team, to have him be part of this program, part of the rebuild. That I don't think, he helped really take KU football a step forward here. And I think he's going to be remembered really strongly, maybe more than he should be because of all of that. I think the equal love, fair love.
Yeah, I don't think it's more than he should be because we've referenced it several points throughout the season, but now that we're at the end of this season, I think it's worth mentioning again. This guy almost left Kansas in the
He was
offseason.
leaving.
And for good reason. Like, he entered the transfer portal.
Oh, he was
And
done.
if
He was retiring from football.
Oh, he was retiring? I thought he was entering the portal.
I think he was done.
We're going to have to fact check that, but not now. So, Show It All Gang, you fact check us. You tell us which one of us was right, and that could end up being the deciding factor in who wins this episode. But regardless, he was not going to be a Kansas Jayhawk at one point this summer. And I wouldn't, like, nobody would have recommended that he come back to Kansas. Why would you? You're going to come back and sit on the bench for a year? If they wouldn't have had him, this 8-4 season becomes what, Mike? 6-6?
Maybe.
5-7?
Yeah.
Right. Who knows where this team goes without Jason Bean, and he comes and salvages the season, and not just salvages it, like 8-4, dude. You improved off what you did a season ago. And I don't want to skip too far ahead here because I know we're going to do like a season recap, but you won one game. You won one game 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And now Jason Bean, I don't think it's outlandish to say Jason Bean led you to an 8-win season when 2 years ago, we did not think this guy was going to be a part of the future of this program. And here he is giving us one of the most memorable seasons of my lifetime. Pretty special.
I agree. Are we doing season recap?
I mean, is there anything else you want to add about the Cincinnati game? Do you really want to break down
No. I mean, it was a really fun, nice game. Also, great resilience. Like, KU didn't need to win that. There wasn't much to play for on paper, but we've seen it throughout Lance Leipold's tenure here. They've really bounced back from adversity strong every time. Bad half, bad play, where in the past KU football would crumble. They don't. That's it. Like, they have not crumbled. They have bounced back every single time, and they continued to do it. I expected them to show up that way, hypothetically wagered on it to happen, and hypothetically it happened because of what Leipold's Jayhawks have done and because of guys like Jason Bean. So there it is. Do we have anything to show? Because we didn't call for DMs.
We didn't call for DMs. We're going to have a few Show It All submissions, but we're
awesome.
going to do it a little different. We're going to sprinkle it in throughout the show.
Oh, I like that.
Is that okay?
Yeah, alpha for you. Alpha for you.
Yes.
Very good.
Yeah,
and me giving you alpha point is a point for me as well.
Thank you. Yeah, that actually is. And me being a big enough man to thank you for that and recognize that actually in turn makes me a bit of an alpha. So I don't know if that was Jason Bean's swan song, because at this point I'm fully expecting him to be the starter in whatever bowl game KU plays in.
Yeah.
I know today's November 27th. So you've got a full month before KU's going to play again. But at this point, I'm not really holding out any hope that Jalen's going to come back. And even if he did, like, I would still want him out there, but there would certainly be a conversation about like who should start this game based on the season that Jason Bean's had, based on the fact that he's actually been playing football. I've been pushing back on the idea that, oh, if Jalen comes back, you should still start Jason. But I would say the more time that passes, the more you do wonder, like, is there going to be a rust factor with Jalen whenever he does come back? Would you rather have the guy who's been playing football all season be your starter? How close to 100% would Jalen realistically be if he does come back? Then you look back at the Arkansas game last year and you say, well, I guess there wasn't a ton of rust then, but it feels different because it's been longer since we've seen Jalen play this time around.
Even out of respect and nod to what we just talked about with Jason Bean, I would want Jason Bean to be the starter, at least for the first possession. And then I would want to watch
an honorable snap.
No, an honorable possession, whole first drive he gets. But then I would want to watch Andy Kotelnicki get in his bag of tricks, have like Bean in the backfield with Devin Neal and Jalen, and then you have Jalen handing it off to Bean, throwing passes. Like, that's what was going to happen. I've been saying I've wanted to see it all year. Either way, I don't really anticipate Jalen coming back. Why risk if he's not 100%? I don't know where he'll be, but like, I think I'm just not going to plan on it. So honorable first drive, though. No matter what, Bean gets the first possession. I don't care if he breaks
like
his
that
leg.
idea.
I
like
want
that
him out
idea.
there on crutches.
You don't care if he breaks his leg.
Well, like I
You will be indifferent. You will be indifferent towards him.
But I want him to
snapping
play out
his
of
femur.
honor because that's how much I respect him.
We'll probably talk more about this like after the bowl game in a month. But is Jason Bean having the success he's had at Kansas? Is that more about him and how good he is and maybe how much we didn't appreciate his skill level across his time at Kansas? Or is this more of a positive looking forward under this system with this coaching staff and this play calling, knowing that the system is so good and it's so quarterback friendly that even a guy like if Cole Ballard is your starter next season, or maybe Jalen comes back and he's your starter, or maybe it's a guy we're not even talking about, maybe it's an incoming freshman
who looked
that we should
incredible last night.
We should just expect a certain level of production from whoever's in at quarterback.
It's both. I mean, you got Cole Ballard. Kansas had 27 against K-State. We saw, I think, some really strong offensive moments that game. We saw some flubs. So, like, I think Kansas is generally going to be able to put up points. They will scheme their offense to the talent they have, so it will change. When they're at Buffalo, for example, one year they led the MAC in passing, the next year they led it in rushing, or vice versa. I don't remember the order. So they are willing to go where the talent is. I think it is a very obviously friendly and strong offensive system, but also part of it is Jason Bean. But if we're looking forward, I'm pretty confident in the offense based on what I've seen, based on Cole Ballard coming in and the Jayhawks being able to put up 27 against Kansas State. Like, I feel like they will find a way. And last night, I mentioned it, the quarterback commit, Isaiah Marshall, went off in their state championship game against the number one recruit in the country. They won. So I think the future is pretty bright here for this offense. And if not, like, the transfer portal exists. So they're fine.
Too bad we don't have sunglasses, because I would have put them on. I would have put some shades on when you said the future's so bright, because you're right. Like, it's almost blinding me. The brightness of the future. I do think it going back to like the pre-Lance Leipold era, and take your pick of whichever coach you want to bake into this reference. There was conversation every single year about, do the quarterbacks just suck?
Yeah.
Or is it the system? Is it the lack of coaching and the lack of unpredictable play calling? So now I'm to the point where I think, you know what, some of those guys, whether it's like Montel Cozart, we saw Carter Stanley and the shift that he had near the end of his Kansas career. Ryan Willis went on to have success elsewhere. I'm starting to think that, like, maybe it wasn't a talent problem at the quarterback position. Now, I do think these guys like Jalen Daniels and Jason Bean are probably a step above most of those dudes, but there is part of me that says, okay, well, now that you have a really, really innovative play caller and a really good system, there's a level of confidence I have regardless of who's going to come in at quarterback. Like you mentioned Cole Ballard. He didn't light the world on fire for K-State, but he did enough. He did enough for Kansas to win that game. So, like, I don't put that loss on his shoulders. Special teams, a dropped pick six, like those, that's where my attention goes to. So I do think that as long as Kotelnicki and Leipold are here, I'm going to expect this offense to be, top 40, top 50 in the country. And maybe that's not even strong enough.
Can we talk about Kotelnicki for a second? Because I think he got a lot of flack this year. You and I have been pretty adamant in defending him, because when it works well, you got to give him credit. When it doesn't work well, like he looks foolish.
The first person to get blamed. The first person to get blamed whenever this offense doesn't perform to our expectations.
And the offense is really, really good. Like, let's continue to be clear. Historically, especially compared to what we're used to. So Andy Kotelnicki, I think we saw it there against Cincinnati. Like, they have made it really hard to defend. The coaching staff has made it really hard to defend Kansas. It puts a ton of stress on the defense. They do it through creativity. Now, part of the reason I think fans get so frustrated with Kotelnicki is when it goes wrong, it is really deflating and almost disheartening because of like a 3rd and 6 weird option call to a short sideline or something that running back pass in the red zone. They've picked some really deflating moments to flub on. I think the goal zone, the red zone situations, the 3rd and short conversion percentage, put on the glasses. Struggling is indicative of that. Thank you. Glasses are on. But you got to look at the whole picture here. And so, yeah, there's disheartening moments happen. Also, this staff is still 3 years into really big time football. Like, let's call it what it is. They were D3 for a long time. They were in the MAC for a few years. Andy Kotelnicki has got a lot of time to improve. I expect him to continue to get better. And the small time guys are getting the stage that they deserve. They're showing why they deserved it, and it's working out, but the microscope's going to be on them in ways that they're not used to as well. I expect them to adjust and continue to get better over time. So that is in defense of Andy Kotelnicki in the Kansas Jayhawks offense, which is really, really good and not the issue at all with this team.
No, it's... Yeah, and if you're to say, like, well, what is the issue with this team? I don't even really think I have a good answer for that. Because then I look at the defense, and you would always say, well, the offense is lifting the defense up. Year-over-year improvement, though, this defense went from giving up 35 points a game to 25 points a game. Like, that's the difference between going 6-7 and sitting here at 8-4 before your bowl game. Like, Brian Borland, little sneaky preview, little sneaky sneak. Brian Borland, could he be a finalist for the Sick Rich Hot Badass Mofo of the Year? Who had a better come up this year than the Kansas defense? The offense was good last year, but the defense, major improvements from year 2 to year 3.
They got better and better and better as the season went on since that Texas game where they gave up 40. Even Oak State, they pissed down their leg, as you said earlier, in a different version, but last 4 games, Iowa State, they give up 21, Texas Tech 16, Kansas State 31, and then 16 to Cincinnati. Like, really clear improvement. I don't care that the schedule was easier. If the defense was as bad as it was, and it was, like, for them to get to where they are at the end of this year, really impressive. They figured it out. They figured out their DBs are really good, stack the box, make team pass on you. And even in those games where they gave up a lot of points, they still normally had a pick 6, which is wild. So, like, super opportunistic. Brian Borland, you're clearly off fraud watch and entering that Sick Rich Badass Mofo territory.
It's crazy. It's crazy how quickly you can go from the po-homes to the high-rise, you know?
The po-home?
Po-homes to the penthouse, I think is actually the projects to the penthouse, you know, et cetera, et cetera.
Hey,
I think you know what I'm saying. Hey,
what are you going to say?
Where's yours?
What are you going to say? I think we were going to say the same thing.
Don't ask me what I'm going to say. Just say something.
What were you going to say? What were you going to say, though?
I was going to go into, like, season recap mode.
Dream season. Yeah. Dream season. Yeah. That's where I was headed.
8-4. 8-4 is the final record of the regular season with a chance to go to 9-4 with a bowl win. Pretty insane to think about, going back to the conversations we had before the season, going back to where this program was at just 2 years ago, to build off what you did last year. I know there were a lot of bumps along the road. We got our hopes up maybe after that Oklahoma game to think, like, could this team be a 10-win team? Could they be a 9-win team? 8-4, it's worth mentioning, is pretty freaking insane. I know there is an element of the what if, like, biggest what if season ever. What if Jalen Daniels was healthy? What if Jason Bean starts versus K-State? My question for you is it a suckbag loser mentality to go into what if mode immediately after the regular season ends? Because I know a lot of people are doing that. If only, we've all done it. If only this guy was healthy. If only that guy would have played. It kind of feels like a suckbag loser mentality when you're sitting here at 8-4 after an objectively successful season.
The short answer is yes. It is. We shouldn't focus on the what if. And I don't like telling fans how to be fans. But for me, like, so much went wrong for KU this year, where to finish 8-4, like, it doesn't matter. Like, this is the step in the right direction. This is what you needed to see when we talked about KU at the beginning of the year. I think your mark was 8-4, wasn't it? For a successful season, or 8-5. I don't know where we.
No big deal. Alpha point for me. That's probably 2 points for me, actually.
No, alpha point for me is that I basically had the correct record prediction all year.
Well, beta point for you is before the season, you said you would have been happy with 6 wins. A lot of people had your back on that. You guys all get a beta point as well. You guys all kind of have suckbag loser mentalities, just saying, let's just win 6. I said 8. They won 8. I had my finger on the pulse of this team all season long in a way that nobody else on this show really has.
I just enjoyed that. All right, so yeah, I'm not playing the what if game. This is the kind of year KU football has been missing for decades. The good season, the standard good season. It has been elusive. I looked and saw KU hasn't had an 8-win regular season since 1981 with Don Fambrough. Like,
wait, what? Oh, you mean exactly 8 wins?
Exactly 8 wins in the regular season.
Okay, that's kind of a weird way to look at it.
It's a weird way to look at it.
As if winning more games should be discredited.
Well, I was just curious. Like, what about a normal good season? That's just what I was curious about. Because it's been elusive, where KU's basically ended at 6 and then had the random pop off for like 10 to 12 wins. It doesn't make, or I guess whatever. Doesn't make much sense. So I think for KU to have a standard good season, really important. Spin zone. I actually think it's better that they didn't win so much, because we're talking about, thank you. We're talking about sustaining. I'm going to take the joke and make it serious. Sustaining long-term success. KU football wins more. Expectations get out of whack. Lance Leipold goes to Texas A&M. And Andy Kotelnick is that coach. We don't know what the future is.
Okay, instead, I have to stop you right now.
Wait.
This is not a timeout. This is a technical foul.
Nope. It's better that KU won less. 8-4 is about the long-term project that is Kansas football. You can't just build a skyscraper without a solid foundation, Nick. This was a foundation.
Oh my God.
This was a foundational year.
Worst thing that's ever been uttered on this show.
I agree.
And you may have just wrapped up Suckbag Loser of the Year.
Well,
yeah.
Put a T on me. What's your counter argument? That winning more would have been better. First off, I want to hear it.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think you can do it.
Do I really need to justify that? First off, I would say if Lance Leipold went to Texas A&M, Andy Kotelnick is not staying at Kansas to become the head coach.
Why?
We have absolutely no depth. I don't know. Let me think here, Mike. He followed him from Wisconsin Whitewater to Buffalo. He followed him from Buffalo to Kansas. Now he's going to say, no, I'm going to stay at Kansas when I have a chance to be an OC in the SEC. Are you out of your mind? This is where he's going to finally detach himself from Lance Leipold's hip.
I completely
You're
disagree.
Crazy.
You're getting really a Power 3 conference head coaching job.
Oh my God! Look at you now. You're coming up. You are now inventing terms to justify your ridiculous statement.
You're comparing Buffalo and Wisconsin Whitewater to Kansas, which is not. It doesn't make sense. No, Colonel Sanders.
It does make sense.
You're wrong.
It actually makes a ton of sense. Stop trying to, without any sort of data, make Kansas like a the departure for Andy Kotelnick. He's been here for 3 years and now he wants to be a lifer.
No, I'm just saying
this is
that's
the opportunity he's going to take.
I think it's actually pretty good job.
Okay.
For him.
I think there's a lot of people around the country who probably would disagree with that. Imagine him going to Texas A&M with the level of recruits they can bring in. They have a top 15 offense in the country. What kind of opportunities do you think he's going to get there?
Okay.
Do you think he would get an opportunity better than being the Kansas head football coach? Because I do.
I think he'll get an extra $2 million a year. I think that's pretty attractive. For the record, millions of dollars makes a difference in people's lives. I think you don't have a response to that.
The problem with your argumentative style is that you just ignore whatever I say and you just keep barreling down your path.
No.
I am saying him being an OC in the SEC and having success there, what kind of opportunities do you think would present themselves to him then?
A good Power 5 job if they succeed, or they'll flame out, win 7-8 games a year.
He'll be the head coach. He'll be the head coach at Mississippi in 3 years.
Kansas. No, look, the highest coordinator, Steve Sarkisian. Oh, this is 2020. They're making like $2 million a year. Kansas pays him $4 million a year.
No. Don't do research while we're in the middle of an argument. Don't pull up data. Don't pull up data
I'm
in
just
the middle
saying,
of the
like,
argument. You're the guy. Here's who you are, Mike. You're the guy when we're having a debate,
are on.
and then you're pulling up your phone to like do research to like
prove-
back up your arguments. No, talk to me. I'm right here. Talk to me.
Okay.
Don't go look up
Here's
coaching salaries while we're talking.
Here's one major reason I think Andy Kotelnicki would take the job, hypothetically, in a way that we're probably not going to see play out. $10 million over 4 years. That's probably the difference. Why would this guy was making like $50,000 a year at Wisconsin Whitewater for his career. At Buffalo, he's probably making a few $100,000. Now he can make an extra $10 million. I just completely disagree about this idea that A&M is like some holy grail for coordinators in the SEC with Texas and Oklahoma coming. I don't know this man, for the record. I don't know what makes him tick. But
I do. He's actually a close personal friend of mine, and he told me he would not take the Kansas job. So there you go. And I just completely ruined the trust factor that I had with him. Our friendship's probably going to deteriorate now that I just put that out there.
Where the fuck are your
You
scoops?
heard it here first.
You've been scoopless?
Yeah, you heard it here first.
I'm texting Bryson.
Okay, yeah, please do. Let's get into Reggie season awards. Let's get into some regular season awards. We have two. We have a grand total of 2 that we need to give out here. Put your phone down.
No, I'm listening.
Listen to me.
I'm listening.
I can
Keep
see
going.
your eyes are down on your
No,
phone.
I'm still texting.
Sick, rich, hot, badass mofo of the year. This is, I would argue, the most esteemed award.
Yes.
The most prestigious award that we're going to give out all season long. Who are the finalists for Sick, Rich, Hot, Badass Mofo of the Year?
I've sent my text. Let's just start naming some names. We're going to name names. Jason Bean obviously gets one.
Jason Bean gets one. Devin Neal gets one. Cole Ballard gets one.
Yeah.
I mean, if we want to take this in the literal sense, Bill Self is probably about as sick and rich as they come right now, based off his current contract situation and KU's standing. So he's a finalist every single year. This is Bill Self actually. He's the Daniel Day-Lewis of this award. He's actually won it 3 times. He's the only 3-time winner of the Sick, Rich, Hot, Badass Mofo of the Year. So it's kind of one of those deals where we're looking for fresh blood. We're looking for, like, we could give it to him every single season if we wanted to, but he gets graded on a curve now.
Bryson says it's the Kansas HC job.
What was the question even?
You want me to read it? Here we go.
Now that you've completely derailed the show with your texting,
Bryson,
I'm just trying to have a conversation with you.
Nick and I are arguing. Bryson says, about what? And I said, would Andy Kotelnicki take the Kansas HC job or go to A&M's Leipold in a hypothetical world? And he said, Kansas HC job.
Oh, well, I guess it's final. I guess that just
Bryson
completely
is a Kansas
ends the
football
conversation.
insider. He's not biased at all. So how about Lance Leipold's agent? Because he's about to get a raise.
What's his name?
Brian Harlan, brother of Kevin Harlan.
Okay. We'll go ahead and we'll nominate Kevin Harlan as well.
Oh.
Just for being a legacy Jayhawk. Brian Borland, I think his name has to be mentioned in this. Johnny Furphy. I think the way he's started his Kansas career. He's already hot. One day he'll be rich as well.
And he appears to be
when he's
sick.
winning MVP awards. Yeah, he does appear to be sick. And when he's winning multiple MVP awards in the NBA, at that point we'll look back and say, we knew it. We saw it coming.
We were first.
I think this is a runaway winner. I think there's
Hold
a
on.
very obvious candidate for this.
Oh, I do too. That's it.
You want to say it on the count of 3?
Yeah.
Okay. 1, 2,
2, 3.
3.
Devin Neal.
Devin Neal. There we go. Okay.
All right.
Perfect. We're on the same page. Devin Neal just had a pretty absurd junior season. 1,200 yards, 15 touchdowns, 1,400. Go ahead and put the glasses on. Yep. Getting really statistical for this, but I don't care.
No.
No shame.
This
Glasses
is the time.
on for this.
This is the time.
1,400 yards from scrimmage and 16 touchdowns. We became so consumed with the quarterback conversation around this team that we were very guilty of not talking enough about the season that Devin Neal was having. And part of the reason why every quarterback who played for Kansas this year had success was because they were playing in front of a dominant run game led by Devin Neal. Daniel Highshaw, right? The Robin to his Batman, which may not be fair to Highshaw, but Devin Neal just had an all Big 12 type season. May have been his last year at Kansas. If I were giving him advice, I would say go get that money, but would love to see you back in Lawrence for another season. This guy was incredible, and he's just gotten progressively better every single season he's been at Kansas. 6.5 yards per carry. Like, come on, dude. Like, this was an insane season by him.
I'm pretty pissed at the Batman to the Robin thing. That's worse than the foundation comment. But
why?
Nope. We're gonna keep this on Sick Rich Hot Badass Mofo. Alpha move by me. That was a hit and run. No, I think you nailed it though. All of the attention this season went to the quarterback situation. There was so much confusion that I think we missed out on a truly all-time great Kansas football season by an individual player. Like, that's one of the great years I think we've had in the last 30, 40 years. Like, it's just one of the best running back seasons. Do you remember a running back having a better year in our lifetimes? Maybe Gordon. I would have to.
BMAC had like
awesome.
a 16 touchdown season. Let's see where it ranks.
I'm curious. I would say I'll keep going while you do the research, which you said we shouldn't do, but it's fine. Dude,
no, it works this time. It didn't work when you were doing it, but now that we're not arguing, I think it works.
You're right.
Okay, so he had 1,209 yards. That puts him 4th in Kansas single season history.
Goddamn. Yeah. Who's ahead of him?
That would be June Henley in 96, Tony Sands, legend, in 91, and John Cornish.
Oh.
With 14, the record is 1457 back in 06. So then you look at his touchdowns. He had 12 touchdowns. That puts him tied for 7th.
And that's
all time.
Because Highshaw's good too, and you've got some good
he had 15. He had 15. He didn't have 12. He had 15 touchdowns, which puts him 3rd all time behind June Henley and BMAC.
Yeah. This is an all-time great rushing season. While things were chaotic at quarterback, while guys had to get settled, they had ups and downs. He was a consistent rock for this team. He is the biggest reason Kansas makes it to 8-4. He was so patient. He really understood this offensive line, the scheme, made the most of it, and I'm just excited for him with whatever he decides to do. Hey, NIL matters, y'all. Like, if you want to see players like this come back, you got to show him the money. Either way, I hope dude gets paid next year. He's just been awesome.
Will he come back?
I don't know. I don't have any scoop. Want me to text Bryson?
Yeah, text him again. We've already opened that can of worms, so why don't you go ahead and shoot him another text. Is Devin Neal coming back? And then in a few minutes, we can ask about Kobe Arnold. And why don't we get Jalen Daniels in there while we're at it? Let's just run the full.
Is Devin Neal coming back? Important.
My neighbor, one of my best friends growing up, his name was Colby Arnold. I was looking at Lawrence Arnold's statistics. Kobe Bryant's right there. I think it was just like a mashup of all three of those. We didn't even talk about, by the way, Kobe Bryant's just absolutely sick, rich, hot, badass pick versus Cincinnati, maybe the highlight of the year for Kansas football.
That was sick. Oh, Kobe's definitely in sick, rich, hot, baddest mofo territory, though I don't think he's there yet. I think he's got time to grow. Maybe a little SPI and you're there, but you might be the favorite for next football season.
If he comes back. I mean, there's a lot of guys who could potentially leave for the draft, and Devin Neal and Kobe Bryant are chief among that list.
Yeah.
Like, these are legit NFL prospects.
Yeah. Bryson says Neal hasn't made a decision. Depends on the feedback. They're going to keep wanting more touches, keep growing. So he says undecided. By the way, feedback, Devin Neal had a really poor pass block rating on PFF. Put the glasses on. That's a spin zone. I want to see him back.
Yeah, I will put the glasses on, but I do need to stop you really quick just to protect you from yourself. Did you inform Bryson that you were immediately going to be taking the information that he gave you in a private text message and airing it out publicly on the podcast?
I said, Bryson, important, 911, is Devin Neal coming back? We're live.
I don't know if that's clear enough, but you know what? That's you. That's on you. And if you want to burn those bridges, that's perfectly fine.
Bryson knows. Bryson understands that we show it. What else do we have?
What a great question to ask in the middle of a podcast. What else do we have?
You put me on defense. You put me on defense. Bryson said...
I did, and I like doing that.
Okay. All right. Anyways.
Okay, we good?
We're good.
Can we continue?
Yes.
Next award. Devin Neal wins the Sick Rich Hot Badass Mofo of the Year award. The next award, which is the award you don't want to win, the Suckbag Loser of the Year. Who are the nominees for this one?
Chiropractors. In any back doctor.
In general.
Yeah.
In general. Okay. I see where you're going.
Like Time Magazine did, like, you are the person of the year or whatever. That's what I'm doing with Suckbag Loser. It's a plural. Back doctors, you failed us.
I don't know. I've been to the chiropractor a few times, and it's always helped me.
Oh, okay. That's just a nominee. I didn't say it's the winner. What about Lance's agent again on the flip side? Because, dude, do you have to get Lance in every article like mid season? Like, come on.
That's true. Like, thank you for bringing him to Kansas, but also knock it off. Like, you've done your job.
Chill.
Just retire. Honestly, retire, if anything.
Brian Harlan?
Who needs to retire the most? Brian Harlan. Retire. You've had a good run.
And you don't need to represent Lance anymore because he'll get paid and everyone will be happy and live ever after. Yeah, those are probably my two. Back Dodgers.
Okay, I've got a couple.
Yeah.
I've got a couple.
You go.
Derek Young. Derek Young. I mean, you're not off the hook yet. You started a malicious, terrible, disgusting rumor about the prince that was promised, Jalen Daniels. How dare you, sir? Who do you think you are, starting a rumor about our young king, Jalen Daniels? So you're still on Fraud Watch, and you are officially nominated for Suckbag Loser of the Year.
For those that don't know, Derek is a K-State reporter who put on their message boards that Jalen Daniels may not be coming back and is sitting out for reasons that aren't related to the injury. And then Jalen put out a video directly responding to that post.
Yeah, he put out a social media video basically saying,
you don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know what you're talking about. I'm at Kansas. I'm staying at Kansas. But again, I think we're all going to be waiting on pins and needles for like an official announcement for what is to become of Jalen Daniels' future. But then again, it's like we did the same thing last year and he came back and hardly played.
Yeah.
But he hardly played this year. So maybe this guy is just never going to be healthy. That's, I guess, a different conversation. Another nominee I want to make, this guy kind of made a late push. Like he wasn't even a finalist and then all of a sudden had his Heisman moment, like in the conference championship. That would be Shaka Smart. Shaka Smart when we're going to get into Kansas basketball later, but with the display that he put on versus KU at the Maui Invitational, like Shaka Smart just absolutely skyrocketed. That was like a 7-touchdown performance versus Georgia in the SEC championship game type performance from Shaka.
Yeah, it's November 27th. How is an opposing basketball coach going to be on the Suckbag Loser of the Year category?
It's tough to pull off.
It is tough to pull off. And he did it. I was red hot. Like, that was as mad as I can remember getting in a KU Hoops game at a coach. Like, red hot. So, yeah, he's definitely, he's in the conversation. Is Sean Snyder in the conversation? No.
Man, it's weird. He's the first guy to ever be nominated for both of these awards. He was actually an honorable nomination for Sick Rich Hot Badass Mofo of the Year, and also a nominee for Suckbag Loser of the Year. It's tough to pull off, but he did it.
Lance's agent had both too.
That's true. So we got a twofer. We got a twofer in this award.
No.
Do you
not
have
Sean Snyder? Not Sean Snyder.
Who's your official vote going to?
It's Ryan Young. Derek Young. It's Derek
Young. Can't even remember his name. Derek Young. That is also my vote. So it is a unanimous decision.
Doing,
Derek Young, you are the Suckbag Loser of the Year. Keep my quarterback's name out Joe mouth. That's right. And speaking of Derek Young, we've got more message board chatter from a K-State writer about a player that could potentially be entering the transfer portal. Who is it this time? It's our friend Tim Fitzgerald. We like Tim Fitzgerald, right?
Yeah, I really like Tim Fitzgerald. Okay. You know, I know he agitated some people. I just want about stadium funding. I don't think he's wrong or raised the questions. Maybe the way he phrased it could have been a little different. Tim Fitzgerald, you're a sick, rich, hot, badass mofo. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We don't have any problem with Fitz on this program.
None.
But here's what he had to say on the Go PowerCat message board. He said, quote, "We've been hearing growing talk of Will Howard's intentions to use his pandemic season to play one more season, but not at Kansas State. I think his anger last night at game's end, throwing his helmet and obviously being hyper-emotional, was him realizing he lost his final game at K-State. We've been digging from the end of the game and into today, and it sounds like will indeed hit the portal when it opens in a week, but he may announce soon he is departing. There is one school that seems to be circling Will as another one-year transfer quarterback to help with their transition to their own young quarterback. The destination we're hearing is Notre Dame. For now, that is all we know, but I'll be shocked if Will plays in the bowl game and double shocked if he does anything else than transfer." Will Howard, not built for this. Will Howard, not built for this. Honestly, I'm going back. Will Howard. And this is mostly a statement nomination. I'm going back retroactively nominating Will Howard for Suckbag Loser of the Year only because of what we discussed last week about not talking crap on college athletes. Nope, Will Howard's getting paid, and he might be getting double paid by going to Notre Dame. So I am just exercising my First Amendment right to nominate Will Howard for Suckbag Loser of the Year.
I don't know. It's kind of sick, rich, hot behavior. He didn't...
Transferring to Notre Dame?
Yeah, leaving K-State.
No, he's not built for this. It's genius. He's not built for this. He's not built to be a Power 5 quarterback. Will Howard is an independent level quarterback. That's how good he is. He's not even a Power 5 quarterback. He's independent.
Will Howard, Sunflower Showdown, you can't handle it. You know what's coming, and you're out. It definitely doesn't have anything to do with the blonde-haired kid behind you that seems to be pretty good. Definitely doesn't have anything to do with that. Maybe he transfers too. And Chris Kleiman goes to be Lance's offensive coordinator at A&M.
That'd be great. You know what? We'd love to have Chris.
No, I mean, yeah, I think it would be really funny if he's good at Notre Dame. That's just kind of it. Like, this is a popcorn situation. No matter what, I'm amused. Win-win for us.
By the way, Fitz also honorable Show It All gang member. He showed it all. He didn't know he was showing it all, but he showed it all.
Shows it. And I liked it.
We're glad to have completely ripped off what I believe is paid access to the Go PowerCat board and sharing that all with you. So you guys are getting free K-State scoops. Don't sue us. # don't sue us for sharing what I believe is a paid scoop on the show. Fitz, congratulations. You are officially part of the Show It All gang.
Yeah, no, that's a good take. If you're a Kansas State fan, subscribe to gopowercat.com.
Yeah, please do. Please do. And if you're a KU fan, we'll bring you the best stuff we possibly can. We're on a need to know basis with gopowercat.com. We've got another submission from the Show It All gang, which I think will very seamlessly transition us into our next topic. This is from, you'll realize very quickly once I start reading who this is from. This is a repeat Show It All member. And we're back. Maybe? Tastefully Show It All. Architect of the MSB, otherwise known as Ames' dad. Hawks by 300. College game season. Lee Corso residency in the Eldridge. Billion seat booth. K-State pays for it. Not asking anymore. Man genius. Lie pulled this L. Still the cheesiest. Stuff my face with Pop-Tarts. Australia over wherever Cincinnati is. Okay, thanks, guys. And again, feel free to say my name, but I will only be referenced as at Kobe Gellis or Kobe Hung Further, Bet Genius, Man Genius, Gellis.
Architect
Great
of the
stuff.
MSB. Took me a second there. Million seat booth.
Yes. K-State pays for it, not asking anymore. Yeah, that's right. And you know what? And that's also a nice little nod to Tim Fitzgerald, who was upset earlier this season because he was saying that Kansas taxpayers are paying for it. And listen, Mike, I don't know who's paying for it, but let me just say this. If Kansas taxpayers are paying for it, good. You should. We are an institution. We are the beacon of light for this state. And if you have to dig into your pocket a little bit to pay for the Kansas football stadium, you should be honored. You should be honored that they asked you to be a part of making state history. So you're welcome, quite frankly.
You're welcome. Thank you for the maybe penny. Maybe a penny. That's my understanding. Part of a penny.
Look at Mike. Mike, he's a California elitist.
I am.
This doesn't even affect him, so he doesn't care. And he might be spreading misinformation. We don't know because he doesn't care about the Kansas taxpayer. Okay, so that does bring up a good question. What bowl game
are we going to?
What bowl game is Kansas going to? I've heard some rumblings that they could be headed to the south. They could be headed to the southwest. I'm really hedging my bet there. But it seems like Texas and Arizona, because there are so many damn bowl games in Texas, that's just kind of up there. There was some chatter earlier about the Pop-Tart Bowl in Orlando. I think that was if the dream season happened. It's so funny to think about the dream season ending with the Pop-Tart Bowl in landlocked Florida.
Why is that funny?
But it's the Pop-Tart Bowl. Like, come on.
I dream of it.
Where do we like in here? The Big 12 Bowls, you've got Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl in Fort Worth. You've got the Serve Pro First Responder Bowl in Dallas. You've got the Guaranteed Rate Bowl in Phoenix. You've got the Tax Act Texas Bowl in Houston. All of these games are happening right around Christmas, either like December 23rd or the 26th or 27th. What do we like here?
Where do we want to go?
Where do we want to go?
First of all, to me, all these sponsors, they're the Could Be Wrong Bowl. All right, that's how I'm going to look at it.
I like it.
I think Texas Bowl would be really fun. In Houston, first of all, that's my hometown, but also you're playing an SEC team, which was electric last year. So I'm looking at matchup and I'm looking at city. So Texas Bowl, I think, would be fun. And then I guess the Dallas Bowls could be all right. Basically, I just want to avoid playing like Northwestern and Rutgers. That doesn't seem so fun. So that might be
So
the
you
Phoenix
want
Bowl.
want a challenge.
Yeah, I want a fun matchup. I don't want to, even though like hanging dong on Northwestern would be pretty cool. I don't know. Give me a good matchup that I'm going to get hyped for. And I think,
well, I'm looking at the teams right around Kansas's. I don't know. Like Kentucky's a 7-win team. Tennessee went 8-4. I feel like they're a bit higher. LSU went 9-3. A&M went 7-5.
Those are scary.
A&M. Do we like A&M?
Oh, the Lance, the Andy Koronicki OC Bowl.
The Kotelnicki Bowl. Yes, exactly.
Dewey
Winner gets
Yeah,
Kotelnicki.
A&M would be fun. Yes. Well, if you're playing them in Houston too, it's basically a road game. But it's not what matters. What matters is having fun. I'm looking at Brett McMurphy's Action Network picks. He's got Kansas playing Maryland in Phoenix. I'm down for that. But it's not my
By the way,
top choice.
Another scoop from my dad. This is
Ooh.
the second scoop of the year. The first one was that he saw somebody at the airport told him that Jalen Daniels was sitting out and transferring to Michigan State with Lance. So we don't even know if that's wrong yet. We don't know if that's incorrect yet. Has Michigan State hired a coach?
Yeah, they have. The Oregon State.
So that one is correct. Well, Jalen Daniels could still transfer there, but it's not looking great. My dad did tell me recently he saw on Facebook that KU is going to Phoenix. So we'll circle back to that whenever they make the final bowl picks.
McMurphy predicts Auburn to the Texas Bowl. Playing Auburn would be fun.
That was such a violent sneeze.
I let it out, man. I showed it all. I got my allergies. They're going nuts.
God.
Auburn.
You okay, bud?
Auburn
You okay,
would be
bub?
fun. Yeah.
Just hit you with a bud. You didn't notice. Alpha move
I
by
thought it was
me.
bub.
Auburn
I
would
thought it
be
was bub.
fun.
I thought it came from love.
In
not from
terms of
hate.
just like destination, independent of
Okay.
who you're going to be playing, I would say for ease of travel, Dallas, from the Kansas City area, Dallas would be obvious the number one pick there. For enjoyment, for fun, I would actually go Phoenix. Phoenix would be a fun place for Kansas to take over for a couple days. Dallas also has a huge KU alumni base. Dallas, Denver, Chicago, I think are the three biggest cities outside of the Kansas area. So Dallas would be great for fans that are already living there. It would be great for travel as well. So if given the option, I would assume, well, it would depend on money, but I would also think that Dallas would have a slight edge over Phoenix. But Phoenix would be fun. I would love to go to Phoenix. Both of those games, by the way, the Serve Pro First Responder Bowl in Dallas is on December 26th. The Guaranteed Rate Bowl in Phoenix is also on December 26th. And then the Tax Act Texas Bowl in Houston would be December 27th. People want to know, Mike, are we going to the bowl game?
I'll probably be at the game if it's in Texas. Because I'll be in...
Will you already be in Texas?
Yeah, I'll be in Texas. So, yeah, you want to come?
I would love to go.
Oh.
I'm going to be I'm going to Kansas for Christmas as well. So going to Phoenix, oddly enough, wouldn't make a ton of sense. Like it would make a ton of sense if I were still in Denver, but Dallas from Kansas City, you get a little puddle jumper, hop down to Dallas. So the fam went to Memphis last year. They said it sucked. Memphis, low key, horrible place to go to a bowl game in December.
Yeah.
Dallas, on the other hand, I think would be kind of sick. So if it's in Dallas, like that's the best opportunity for me to go to a bowl game.
Commit to something. Beta move
I
not
won't.
to commit.
I won't
Okay,
commit.
all right. Point from Mike. I will be there if
I'm
it's
committing.
in Texas. I will be there.
I'm committing to not committing. I'm committing to non-committal.
Oh, that's pretty good.
When will we know? Do you know when we'll find out?
No one knows.
No one knows.
I'm just kidding. It'll be after the...
Why don't we go for the triple play here? Why don't you text Bryson one more time, see if he can tell us where KU's playing in the bowl.
All right.
We've been utilizing him a lot. We could have just had him on the show. We
He's
could have
really
just had
sick.
him on the show.
He said he may not be alive to see the team next year.
Oh, he's like actually
He's really
sick. I thought
sick.
you meant
No,
sick,
no,
like
no.
sick. I thought you meant like sick, rich, hot, badass.
Also that.
Yeah, also that. While you're texting, I'm going to go ahead and get us into our basketball stuff because we're going to close here with KU basketball, recapping the Maui Invitational. KU did not win the Maui Invitational, sadly enough, as they low-key got kind of wrecked by Marquette. I don't know if the final score would indicate, a downright wrecking. They lost by 14. I think that's wrecking territory considering they were really not in that game at any point over the final 20 plus minutes. So low-key wrecking, that's okay. Came back, a little bouncy back win versus Tennessee. That's another top 10 wins.
Yeah.
It was an impressive win against who is still, by the way, after losing 2 straight games in Maui to really good competition in Purdue and Kansas, Tennessee, number 1 defense in the country. So we can talk all we want about the offense, and I know we will. They just beat the number 1 defense in the country, according to Ken Palm. Glasses on. Tell you right now, I'm going to take the glasses off, but the glasses will be coming back on for this Kansas basketball segment. We're going to get into Shaka Smart stuff, but before, let's just do the big picture here. What was your biggest takeaway from KU's time in Maui?
They need a second ball handler, secondary scoring option alongside DeJuan Harris. Jamari McDowell filled that role against Tennessee. I think you really need a secondary offensive threat on the perimeter, or secondary, like DeJuan is a major threat. He needs to be aggressive, and I think you need someone else that's going to make a defense.
Are you talking
work.
about shooting?
I'm not.
What
even
is the
saying
biggest
that.
concern here? Is it shooting? Is it just like
I think they need another
offensive
dude.
initiator?
They need another dude. Yeah, an offensive initiator, someone they can trust. The young guys are going to get there. They're going to get better. It's going to take a little time, but that to me is the most important thing for this team. Truly, that's I guess. So yeah, another offensive initiator. I don't think it needs to be a shooter. It needs to be someone respected and trustworthy out there on the perimeter. And then the other thing is like they're slow. They're going to be a slow team. They got to play under control.
Okay, so this is going to make me the sick, rich, hot, badass mofo of the week, and this is going to make me the alpha of the episode, and I'm going to win the episode with what I'm about to say. I basically, trying to find a tactful way to put this, I basically disagree with everything, like every single thing that you just said. Not only you, though, I'm disagreeing with everyone who is talking about the Jayhawks right now.
Well, you're just
Fans,
wrong. That's not alpha.
Media, national media. No, I'm not. I couldn't be wrong. I couldn't be more correct about this. We're changing, and this is the most alpha move. We are now actually, I have an announcement to make. We're changing the name of the show. Couldn't be wrong. It's now couldn't be wrong. I couldn't be more right about this, quite frankly.
Continue.
The chatter of the concern around Kansas basketball has been insanely overblown. This is one of the best teams in the country. And I'm getting a little tired hearing about all of their deficiencies. I'm getting a little tired hearing about all the things that they don't have that they're going to need to compete in March. This team lost to Marquette. Weird matchup. Marquette plays a very unique style of ball. Marquette is also one of the most experienced teams in the country. Yep. They brought back everyone from a season ago. This is way, way, way closer to a finished product than what Kansas is. And we're going to see this team get increasingly better over the course of the year. But let's just stop for a moment. Instead of talking about all the things they don't have, let's talk about what they do have. They have 2 All-Americans on their team. They have 2 of the top 10 players in college basketball. I feel supremely confident in saying that. 2 top 10 players in Hunter Dickinson and Kevin McCullough. Glasses on if you want for this. Hunter Dickinson is averaging 21 and 13. 21 and 13 through the first 6 games of this season.
Pretty good.
This guy, who was the number 1 player on the open market this season, this offseason, he has come in and he is infinitely better than he ever was in any of his years at Michigan. And then behind him, as a sidekick, you've got Kevin McCullough, who had back-to-back triple-doubles, who's averaging 18, 8, and 6. What are we talking about here? You've got 2 of the, and by the way, we can get into the whole conversation of, oh, well, you need a complete team. You need 5 guys. You need 6 guys. You know what wins in March? Having 2 stars. Having multiple stars on the court.
DeJuan.
And that's exactly what can't
And DeJuan.
And oh, by the way, you have a national championship winning point guard who is also perhaps the best perimeter defender in college basketball. By the way, and this is what's going to really piss me off. All I hear about is how KU needs more shooting. I watched after they beat Kentucky in the Champions Classic, I shouldn't have done this, but I'm on Twitter and I see the Field of 68 and it's Rob Doster and Jeff Goodman and Doug Gottlieb. Like, just talk about an absolutely immaculate trio of guys I don't ever want to hear talk about basketball. Those guys sat there after Kansas beat Kentucky, talked about how the lack of shooting is going to cost Kansas, how they need a second shooter, how the departure of Arterio Morris really put this team in a bind. Glasses on for this one, Mike. Let me check the numbers here.
Glasses are on.
Kansas doesn't have enough shooting. They are currently shooting 40.6% from three-point range. That ranks 13th in college basketball. Tell me more about how they don't have enough shooting. And I know what the rebuttal to that will be. Well, they're not a high-volume shooting team, right? They don't get a ton of points. They don't take a ton of shots. Okay, well, if you're not going to take a ton of shots from three, the next best thing is to be insanely efficient, which is exactly what they are. What are we doing here? Kansas got propped up so much in the offseason. You're the number one team in college basketball coming into the year by virtually every outlet, that now we are grading them on a curve and saying, oh, they don't look like they're number one. They look like they're number 5. My Lord, the difference between KU as currently constructed and having all this extra shooting that people are yearning for is the difference between them being the 5th best team in the country and the number 1 team in the country. And last I checked, we've got 5 months left of the regular season. This team has so much going for them. They're an elite defense. They have 2 stars and one of the best point guards in the country. And let me check here, the number 1 coach in college basketball. And yet all we're doing is talking about the things that they need, the things that they don't have. This is ridiculous. This is a very, very good basketball team that is only going to get better across the course of the season. And all of this talk about all the things that KU needs is ridiculous to me. This is a very good basketball team. And I think we need to stop and recognize that before we talk about all the improvements they need to make.
That was good. Are you done?
I'm done.
Okay, quick question. Did you bait me into trying to say they need more shooting? Because I didn't really take it. Okay, I thought you had this whole thing planned and in that you're trying to bait me, and I was just kind of thinking about that.
I don't go with any notes.
No, I'm just kidding. You're not okay. There can be multiple truths. I'm going to drop that bomb. Glasses on. Multiple things can be true. You're right. So are some of the things that I said. Both are true.
No, I'm all right. You're all wrong.
So,
Alpha.
You're right. No, you're not. Like, you're right, but you're not. Multiple things can be true. So, look, I still think they need to develop a secondary perimeter threat or a consistent perimeter player who's not going to turn it over. El Marco, can't trust him yet. I'm not saying that won't happen, but I'm saying like that's a takeaway. That's something that we want to see happen really over December, over this next month, right? The Maui games are a measuring stick. So you really learn about the team. I think we've got some learnings, like they're good. The Tennessee one was really impressive, but they still have to, if we're talking like national title, figure that out, the 2 spot. And I still think their transition offense and defense needs to get worked on. And I could pull up the numbers, like their transition offense and defense are probably the 2 worst parts of their game right now. That would be on synergy. Like I know that's a thing. I don't have to go look at it. So those are things to figure out, which is taking some control. Yep.
Glasses on. You said the word synergy.
I did. It would be like learning how to play under control, learning your like real personality, right? How is KU going to win games? What's it going to look like? And what's it going to look like when they're not winning? And how can they correct that? So I think that's a big thing that we kind of learned here. DeJuan's got to take control. If they go half court, no, I don't think anyone can play with KU. It is really about when they get
interesting.
sped up.
You know what's interesting about that is this isn't really like disagreeing with you, but it is funny to look at like their tempo. KU's one of the fastest teams in the country right now. Like they're playing at a fast. Now you could argue the reason why I'm not disagreeing with you is because I would tend to agree that they would be better suited to not play so fast.
Yeah.
But one of the other things that really jumps out at me, and my glasses are on for this entire rebuttal, is they're number 1 in the country in assists per field goal made. And that goes to what we talked about 2 weeks ago, which is that this team moves the ball very, very well. I think that speaks to the level of experience they have. They have a ton of upperclassmen that are playing in this rotation
that's
right
why
now.
They weren't ready to beat Marquette.
And they've got, no, we're talking about
I know.
continuity. We're talking about bringing back the same guys who have actually played together. Experience and continuity are two different things. This team has experience. They just don't have experience playing together. But I think that speaks to also the basketball IQ of this team. Like the ball doesn't stick. You've got a lot of really smart players out there. And that's what gives me a ton of confidence that they're going to figure this out. It's not like I look at it and say they don't have the dudes. It's just that they don't have the roles established right now. They've got some of it. That's why they're a top 5 team in the country. Getting from number 5 to number 1 is filling out the other 15% that they haven't got figured out yet.
But are the pieces there to figure it out? You're going to bet on Bill Self. There's going to be growing pains. El Marco and Jamari McDowell figuring it out. It's also exciting to watch those guys and Johnny Furphy get
not just Del Marco. What if I just told you, Mike, that you need between Johnny Furphy, Jamari McDowell, Nick Timberlake, and El Marco Jackson, you need 2 of those 4 to make big strides between now and March. You would take that bet, wouldn't you? You would say that will happen versus no, they're just like all those pieces are not going to fit. Wouldn't you bet on Bill Self to develop 2 of those guys or for them to get comfortable to that point?
And that's what we're going to watch for over December. By the way, I did pull up the synergy numbers. I'll just grade it out. This is like their efficiency. Transition offense, they're like around the 50. Transition offense and defense, they're basically like 50 percentile in the country.
Glasses are on.
Yeah. Half court offense and defense, they're in the top 90 percentile. So they're one of the best half court teams in the country, offensively and defensively. And they're average in transition on both sides. So yeah, they're playing too fast. That's what we're getting at.
Yeah, they turn it over a lot.
Problem is, also Hunter Dickinson's outlet passes are really good, which anyways.
Hey, can we say something about Hunter Dickinson? He should be the National Player of the Year frontrunner. And I would take it a step further because I know what people will say, which is, what about Zach Edey? I actually have a response for that prepared. This one I did have prepared. Zach Edey's 7'4". He should not be eligible for any regular season awards. He won it last year. That's fine. We gave you a little nod, but you're not a human being, so you shouldn't be eligible for these awards. So by default, Hunter Dickinson should be the National Player of the Year favorite.
Here's where Zach Edey's a front runner. Suckbag loser of the college basketball year.
Mm-hmm. And why is that?
Because watching him play is painful. That's it. Yeah. And watching Purdue play. So maybe it's Matt Painter. I agree about Hunter. I think so. He is absolutely going to put up absurd numbers. I'm excited to watch it happen. Excited to watch them develop over this month. I am not hitting the panic button, but I was pissed off watching Shaka get his word in against Bill.
Let's get to Shaka Smart, that little bitch ass Shaka Smart. Here's what I would say about Shaka. I would say that, I kind of want to, I'm not saying Shaka is built like a man baby, but I am saying that I would love to put a diaper on him and swaddle him and just rock him to sleep at night. Like I would love to get a car seat and strap him in and then drive around town playing his favorite Disney songs. I would love to just put him on a leash and give him little doggy treats when he's being a good boy, because he is a cute little man baby of a coach. He is the biggest bitch-ass college basketball coach in the country, and he is now public enemy number 1. We needed someone to fill that void. It has been vacant ever since Bruce Weber left Kansas State, and boy, do we have a great man to replace him in Shaka Smart. Bill Self ran him out of Texas, and now he's pissed off about it. We need to give an oral recap of what took place for anybody who may have been living under a rock and missed what happened in Maui. Do you feel like you have a good picture of exactly what took place?
I believe
during that game,
Shaka and McCullough went back and forth for a couple possessions. Shaka then was a timeout, kind of stepped out, yelled at McCullough, told Self he needs to get his players in check. I believe, so basically, Shaka went after McCullough, Self got involved, Shaka told Self to shut the fuck up. That's my understanding. And then
to which Bill responded, so I saw somebody tweet this out, but I never really saw it like confirmed or tweeted by anybody else. Did Bill Self really say, you need to remember who you're talking to?
Something like that. I haven't seen it confirmed either, but I don't think it was made up. It was from a reporter sitting right there that heard a lot of the exchange.
I did see somebody put out there on Twitter. They were like, okay, I'll give $1 to any person who can show me the video of Shaka Smart actually saying that.
And Bill Self saying that?
Subsequently, no, of Shaka saying shut the fuck up. Like, he didn't believe that Shaka actually said that. And then it resulted in 500 people tweeting at him the exact video of Shaka very clearly telling someone to shut the fuck up. What a little child, dude.
Here's
an absolute little baby man who has no postseason success in the last decade to speak of.
Here's my issue. You got like 30 dudes holding you back, and that's when you're going to puff your chest out and talk. That's it. Like, these things can be handled behind the scenes. Guys are going to get heated during a game, but they don't like each other, clearly. Shaka Smart, the kind of guy that's going to cry after winning the Big 12 championship and then lose to Abilene Christian. That's how I'll remember Shaka Smart. So, yeah, you can talk in front of 30 guys. We'll see you in March. I would love another shot at Marquette. Kansas will not lose to Marquette.
I would love another shot at Marquette
if they play.
And I want Bill Self to physically wreck Shaka Smart.
Yeah.
Like, that's a no contest. That's an absolute no contest.
Yeah, Self, I think, had been a little under the weather, too. So, like, it's just classic fake tough guy mentality.
Okay, I'm new to the KU Hearings Discord, but I know you've got, like, guys who do Photoshops in there. Can we put some people on the task of just Photoshopping Shaka Smart into, like, baby situations? Like, put him in a car seat, put him being rocked to sleep, put him like on a little chihuahua, like on a leash, and then just put his face on the chihuahua. Just anything that would illustrate how tiny of a person Shaka Smart is, how he is 4'2". You know what would be great? Like a Christmas party where there's a little elf, but you Photoshop
Shaka. Like,
I want to have a Christmas party and I want to hire Shaka Smart to dress up as an elf and like hand out cookies to all my guests.
I just want to look at him losing the Big 12. That's perfect. By the way, I want to watch him lose or win the Big 12, cry, and then lose to Abilene Christian.
Again, we've already seen that, though.
I know.
We've already seen that. We have data.
It's just perfect to me. So, yeah, congrats on your November Maui Invitational runner-up to Shaka Smart. What are you doing, man? What are you doing? It's just...
Loser.
No, you're...
Suckbag loser.
And you're going after a player like... total...
That's the biggest loser move ever.
What are you doing?
Is like a coach. Like, if you want to go after Bill, that's fine. You guys are contemporaries. But to be talking shit to a player is just such a beta move.
It's really unusual. All right. It's...
Wait, Kevin McCullough alpha.
Yeah.
Kevin McCullough alpha Shaka Smart. That's the real storyline. That's the headline.
Great. Team did not.
He's playing great.
What?
Let's do this. I don't want to repeat the same mistake that we made with Devin Neal in football, because Kevin McCullough playing as well as he is getting overshadowed by Hunter Dickinson being the best player in the country. We're seeing it again. We saw it last year with Jalen Wilson. We saw it the year before with Ochai. And I know it's become kind of like a fun little talking point, but I do think it's worth dissecting. How the hell does this keep happening? How the hell does a good player become an All-American going from junior to senior year 3 seasons in a row? Because that's what I would argue
What about
that what McCullough is doing might be more impressive than what we saw either of the last 2 years from Jalen Wilson or Ochai. He got back-to-back triple. He's averaging 18, 8, and 6. This is in any other year, we would say he is a shoo-in for Big 12 Player of the Year. But because he's got Hunter Dickinson in the lineup as well, it's like, okay, he's a nice little sidekick. What he's doing is not, these are not sidekick numbers. These are not sidekick performances. These are alpha, number one, Big 12 Player of the Year, first team All-American type numbers.
Yeah, I've got a friend who's in an NBA front office, scouting, was in Maui a little bit. He
Not bragging.
Yeah, he texted me. He's like, I love McCullough. I want this guy on my team. Like, that was his take. Kansas was getting punked by Marquette, and that's his takeaway. So, yes, thank you. We're not going to learn from our mistakes. We are going to learn from our mistakes. We're going to get better. Kevin McCullough, you deserve your flowers. I don't know that it's more impressive than Ochai yet, but also you can go further. Like Frank Mason, junior to senior leap. Devontae Graham made the same kind of leap. I mean, recent history, I guess those guys weren't in like draft consideration, quite like Jalen and Ochai. Different position, but we're seeing it happen.
That's why
we're seeing it happen. Yeah,
that's why I'm kind of comparing the last three, because they all have kind of been wings between Ochai, Jalen, and McCullough. It's like, you're the wing, you're the leader, you're going to be sort of the initiator on the perimeter. And he's not the shooter that either one of those guys were, even though Jalen wasn't a knockdown shooter necessarily. The way he's doing it, though, to go from, what was he, a 9 point per game scorer for his career, and now all of a sudden putting up 18 a game, like, whatever Bill is doing, I would love to hear Bill, like, an honest explanation of how this keeps happening, because the dishonest explanation is he's just working really hard. But there's got to be more to it than that. Like, how does this happen 3 consecutive seasons where a guy takes this massive leap from his junior to senior year, like becoming completely different players?
I think part of it is the trust level with the coach, the comfort within the system. When Self kind of takes the reins off on guys, it really helps them hit another level. And I think he's done that with McCullough. We've seen him do it in the past with other guys. I think it took McCullough like 3/4 of the year to really get comfortable in the offense last year too. So that's part of it. But you're saying like over time, part of it is I think trusting each other, and you get to play without thinking a little bit more. And when you're told it's your team and you're playing for Kansas, like your confidence level and your self-confidence, I think takes a step that is really, really hard to pin down or see on paper. Like, I think that's what's happening. No glasses can see this.
Yeah, blue glasses.
No glasses.
These are blue light glasses, by the way. These are the Dion's. Okay, let's close it with what's coming over the next week, because as fun as Maui was, you now have another top 5 opponent you're playing this week. Maybe the best team in the country, defending national champs, UConn. That's on Friday, but Tuesday you've got Eastern Illinois. That could be shit pump territory. Eastern Illinois might be the worst team that you've played all year, like worse than North Carolina Central and Manhattan.
Really?
This is a really, really bad team. Yeah, the Panthers of Eastern Illinois, they are currently 3-4 on the season. Their wins so far this year are against Monmouth, Coppin State, and Eureka. What state are they in? I have no idea, because you can't click on them on Basketball Reference. You know who else you can't click on? Monmouth. This is a really, really bad team. So a nice little opportunity for those 2 guards that everybody wants to see emerge. Like Furphy's going to get some run. Timberlake's going to get some run. Jamari McDowell might put up a 30-burger. Like, who knows? It's all on the table. Another triple-double for Kevin McCullough. Will he get enough minutes to pull it off? That remains to be seen. So you get a nice little shit pumping under your belt on Tuesday, and then in the Fieldhouse, UConn on Friday. That is going to be electric, and it will be another, like you mentioned, another measuring stick game to find out where Kansas is at. But UConn is going to be a hell of a test, because that is a damn good team.
Oh, man. First of all, I think Eastern Illinois, like, perfect timing. I think KU needs a game like this. Grow confidence, grow comfort. Like, you need the stopgap in between all these big games. And then UConn, like, I think they're the best team in the country. That's what I've seen so far. I've gotten to watch them a bit. They're awesome, and I think
Haven't really played anybody, though. They have not played a good
they
schedule
ain't played
at all.
nobody, Paul. That's my SEC Big Ten. Yeah,
That was
you know,
good.
That's
That was really good.
No, I think it's awesome. Like, the Fieldhouse is going to be so juiced. I cannot wait to watch like Hunter Dickinson play in his first real Allen Fieldhouse game. That's a weird. I don't know if that's a weird thought, but like, dude he was losing his mind against in the like Manhattan game. So it's going to be real fun. Unless KU gets bumped.
Weird Friday night too. This would normally be like a Saturday afternoon game, but I kind of like that it's a Friday night. Like, night games to me just carry a different level of energy than the day games. I love the day games. I love the atmosphere. I love the sun coming through the windows and shining on the court. Like, that's all cool. But the energy for a night game and a Friday night game at that, I feel like is going to be off the charts.
Yeah, it's going to be, I'm so excited. I'm really curious to see, like, if they have taken some steps forward at this point. It's still really early, but it'll be fun. I'm curious to see how the UConn guys handle it. Danny Hurley in the field house. It's got all the makings of a great non-con game. Over the last few years, KU has generally won this kind of game, basically the entirety of Bill Self's tenure. So curious to see if it happens. Do you care? Like, how much do you care if KU wins that game on Friday?
If they win,
Like, versus
I care. I care because it's, you know what I care most about?
Fieldhouse.
It's
a
Allen
Fieldhouse.
Fieldhouse.
Yeah.
It's Fieldhouse. You don't lose those games at the Fieldhouse. So that's my biggest thing. In terms of like what I'll be thinking afterwards, what I'll be saying if they lose. Will Kansas be on fraud watch if they lose this game? I think a lot of people will put them on fraud watch. I think fans will put them on fraud watch. I think national media will put them on fraud watch. They'll say, see, it'll be that one of those. See, we told you. We told you they need another scorer. They're shooting. It will be validation for whatever your concerns are about Kansas. If they lose that game, you'll find a way to justify those concerns using the result of that game. So I just want to avoid that narrative and that conversation afterwards. That's my biggest reason for winning. Because like we said many, many times before,
Who cares though?
you will make your resume, your March resume, in conference play. We don't often reference non-con games. Maybe on Selection Sunday, it'll be on kind of the line where it says biggest wins. And if you beat Connecticut, that will certainly be up there. But even if it's on your resume, we're not going to be referencing it in our conversations about this team on Selection Sunday. We're not going to be saying, well, see, since they beat Connecticut 3 months ago, this team can go on a run in March. So it's important to keep things in perspective. It matters now.
Perspective matters.
Way, way, way more. It matters so much more now than it will ever matter when the games actually mean something later in the season.
I've been thinking about one thing Bill Self said, and I think this is maybe my last point here on the Big 12 media days. I think Self said something like, looking at the new Big 12 schedule, like, we're going to have to get used to maybe losing some more games and focusing more on having the team in the best place in March. I think he kind of said, like, he's expecting to lose some more regular season games in the future, right? You've got Houston coming in, like, the conference is loaded. And this year is part of that. In the schedule is part of it. So I try to think about that too, which is like, I think he is going to let them play through some early struggles a bit more than we've seen him do in the past. The one self-criticism is like, he doesn't play the young guys enough. He doesn't let them get ready because he's so competitive. He's got to win the regular season games. I don't think we've really seen that so far. So I think it's an intentional adjustment,
Mike?
though. Oh, yeah.
But you know why you're not seeing that is because there is no senior on the bench that maybe isn't as talented as the young guys. Like, the guy he turned to when he got sick and tired of playing the other dudes was a freshman in Jamari McDowell. Like, that's been the safety valve. So, like, Nick Timberlake's a senior.
That's what I meant.
Well, he's part of the problem. He's part of the problem. So you're not like, okay, nobody else can get it done. We're putting Timberlake in there. No, he's the guy who's getting benched in favor of the young guys. So I just don't feel like the roster makeup really has that little like emergency exit guy to throw in there when you're sick and tired of playing all the other dudes.
It's true, but I still think he was letting him play. Even like letting him play sped up a little bit more than we've seen in the past. A little less control, little bit looser early in the year. And I think it's a good thing. It's probably a smart change up. I'm fired up for Friday, and I'm fired up to see what bowl the Jayhawks go in. Now I want to circle back. Bryson said he has no idea what bowl KU goes to, but he doesn't think the Pop-Tart Bowl is out of the picture. Wow.
We're in Pop-Tart Watch.
Pop-Tart Watch.
We're on Pop-Tart
Dream
Watch.
season alive.
There will be a lot of Pop-Tart content on this show leading up to that bowl game if that's where KU ends up going.
That's it. We are on Pop-Tart Watch.
That's all there is.
The Kansas football team.
We are officially
Pop-Tart Watch.
Pop-Tart Watch has begun. Don't walk to your local supermarket and buy your favorite Pop-Tart flavor. For me, I know this is an unpopular opinion. For me, it's s'mores. I know a lot of people think the s'mores one is gross. I happen to like, if I'm going Pop-Tart, I'm going s'mores. If they don't have s'mores, I'm going brown sugar cinnamon. I don't do the fruity Pop-Tarts. That's just me, though.
And that is why I am nominating myself as the alpha of the episode.
And I will actually, in turn, be nominating myself for the alpha of the episode. So if you would like to weigh in on this, please let us know in the comments section. Leave us a review on iTunes, on Spotify.
Tell us via review.
Let us know. Tell us via review, 5-star review, mind you, 5-star reviews only. Let us know who is the alpha of the episode. We will tally up the votes and make the results public on next week's episode. If you haven't, subscribe, rate, review wherever you're listening. Show your friends. You're going to be with your families around the holidays. Let them know. What better Christmas gift to give a loved one than a free one, which is a subscription. Grab their phone, and even if they don't like KU, subscribe to this podcast for them. It's the greatest gift. It's the season of giving, and give your family and friends something that's priceless. Literally, it's priceless because it's free. The best Christmas gift, the best gift for the holidays. Thank you for listening. Thank you for voting for me for alpha of the episode. And that's it, man. That's the end of the episode.
I'm the alpha.
I'm the alpha. Goodbye. And that's the final word. Me being the alpha. Goodbye.